Welcome, middle school families. Today, we have information for you regarding our Williamsville Relaunch Plan. My name is Pete Dobmeyer, principal at Casey Middle School, and I am joined by...
Hi, this is Dan Wall, principal of Transit Middle School.
Hi, Jeff Jaklewski, principal at Heim Middle School.
Hello, Mike Calandra, principal at Mill Middle School.
Our Reset, Relaunch, Return Committee focused on important guiding principles. Relationships were key. Relationship with having the same teachers, relationships with having the same classmates, and the consistency of having the same schedule. Flexibility for our teachers to implement a model to meet the needs of our students through the best instructional practices for online and in-person instruction. Once these guidelines were created, we looked at the essential elements. One, very critically important, is that they had the same instruction, high quality, from a Williamsville teacher. Also, for students to be afforded the opportunity to take all their classes by either in-person or all remote. Teacher flexibility in using the best practices to engage their students. The ability for teachers to begin online and in-person instruction through professional learning opportunities for both synchronous and asynchronous instruction. A daily synchronous experience for our students to check in every day. Both the opportunity for students to receive synchronous and asynchronous instruction. At this time, I will turn it over to the principal of Casey Middle School, Mr. Peter Dodmeyer.
Thank you, Mr. Calandra. I'll continue on with an overview of our relaunch plan, specifically talking about high flex learning and what that looks like. High flex learning is not live streaming. In this model, teachers customize instruction and engagement based on student needs and on the objectives of the lesson. This involves some combination of synchronous, asynchronous, and independent learning. Students at home in the classroom will be actively engaged synchronously with the teacher at times during the lesson. And when there are opportunities for group work or independent practice, students at home will be able to disengage from the Chromebook and then check in with the teacher potentially later on in the period. So this is a flexible model that allows us to design our instruction based on student need and learning objectives. It also limits, in some ways, the amount of screen time necessary for students to still have an interactive, high-quality instructional period with their teacher. To continue on with some of the differences between this high-flex model and previous plans that were proposed. The development of this plan is noteworthy. This plan was developed by a committee of stakeholders who researched and reviewed best practices and created guiding principles and essential elements of the plan, which you saw earlier in the slide presentation. Parents and students were also involved in providing feedback and making suggestions for the development of this plan. This plan is also research-based and based upon best practices. As part of our process, as Dr. McKenna has stated, we met with professionals from the University of Buffalo, Erie-Wonbossis, and neighboring school districts to look at best research-based practices to incorporate into this model. This model also acknowledges screen time considerations for our remote learners and our students who are learning from home on certain days. Students in this model do not need to be tied to their Chromebooks for an entire 40-minute period. As I described in the instructional model on the prior page, students will have flexibility to work at times in small groups and independently away from their screens. Another benefit of this model is all students are linked to Williamsville teachers. All of the instructors in these courses are Williamsville teachers. Our community strongly values our teachers. Many people live in this community for the education that they get in Williamsville, and we wanted to guarantee that this was a Williamsville quality education for our students and families. In the high school setting, this also enables our remote learners to take a full schedule of elective offerings at the high schools. Continuing on with some of the differences and enhancements from previous plans, This model incorporates a high level of professional development that is ongoing over the course of the school year to ensure that teachers are using appropriate tools and strategies that are designed specifically to engage and provide instruction to students who are in the classroom and students who are learning remotely. This will allow teachers to make some strategic decisions about how to best address lesson objectives using synchronous and asynchronous methods. And lessons will be designed around these objectives. Rather than using technology to teach a traditional lesson, we are designing lessons that can be supported through this technology. Another important component of the relaunch plan in the phased reopening is the opportunity to test our technology system to ensure that there are no or very few technological glitches as we implement this plan. It also allows us to ensure that all technology items, equipment, including document cameras, laptops, wireless headsets, are in place prior to implementation so that students can be offered the best instructional experience possible with the technology. The plan also includes structures for ongoing technology support for all of our teachers as well. At this point, I'm going to hand things over to Dr. Wall, Principal of Transit Middle School.
Thank you, Mr. Dodmeyer. I'd like to tell you a little bit about the phase-in timeline. So on October 13th, 2020, we'll welcome back students in grades 5 through 6 who are in the hybrid model to come back to school. On October 19th, 2020, we welcome back 7th and 8th grade hybrid students back to the building. And on October 26, 2020, grades 9 through 12 will return. So this phase-in approach allows us to provide quality professional development to our teachers before implementation, provides opportunity for adequate tech support and logistics planning to be accounted for, and last, it allows us to return our youngest learners in 5th and 6th grade as soon as possible. The instructional groups. So these groups are similar as they were before. Group A, last names A through L. Group B, last names M through Z. Group C, English language learners. Group D are the district self-contained classes. And fully remote students are the students who will receive classroom instruction from home. So this chart shows how the groups kind of go through their week, Monday through Friday in a typical week. So for example, Group A students, if you're a hybrid student in the beginning of the alphabet, your in-person days will be on Monday and Tuesday. So you'll report to school for classroom instruction at your middle school. And then on Wednesdays, all students will report remotely to their 8:55 homeroom or home-based class, and then participate in asynchronous learning activities throughout the day. And then Group A students on Thursday and Friday will be at home. However, they will follow their class schedule throughout the entire day. They will log into each class each day, and they will participate in synchronous and asynchronous learning activities on those days. Group B is similar, just in the opposite order. Group C students will participate in-person learning on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, with the asynchronous Wednesday model in place, reporting to home base first at 8:55. Group D students will participate in a 5-day-a-week learning program, and our fully remote students will access their learning for 5 days from home. So these students will, again, follow their middle school schedule, report to all of their classes at their assigned time, and participate in both synchronous, asynchronous, and independent learning activities Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. And their experience on Wednesday will be similar to all students, where they report to homeroom or home base at 8:55, and then continue on to asynchronous learning activities as with all other hybrid students as well. And now I'd like to turn it over to Dr. Jaklewski to share a little bit more information.
Thank you, Dr. Wall. In the WITS mail you received that contained this video link, there is also a link to a frequently asked questions document. We encourage you to review this document carefully as it does address many of the questions we have received. Each middle school will be hosting a question and answer session on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday next week from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. These meetings will be on Zoom and a link will be WITS mailed on Tuesday. Thank you.